What's going on? This is Council Poly Rob. Welcome to another episode of the Poly Rob Podcast. I am your counselor, and I hope y'all been rocking with me since day one. For those who haven't been rocking with me since day one, that's okay. Make sure you like and subscribe, hit the notifications in the top right or left hand corner, whichever way. I'm back again with another episode. I appreciate everybody showing love. I appreciate all of the followers, all of the comments. I make sure I try to respond to the comments as much as possible. And this is a special episode for me. I'm not going to lie. This is a special episode for me for two reasons. Two reasons. Number one, this is what I'm going to talk about is my favorite group of all time. Let's get that out the way. My favorite group of all time, undeniably, which I also believe, and we'll get into that, that they're the best group in music history, at least in hip hop music history of all time. Number two, this group is directly connected to a lot of my memories. A lot of memories growing up, a lot of memories of me becoming who I have destined to be, how I learned a lot of things, how I've studied the art of rap, what made me want to become a rapper and eventually a producer and a sound designer. Just so many things. It's almost like every record, a favorite record of mine from this group, when I listen to it, it's directly connected to some sort of memory that it's just a part of me. I'm not gonna lie. I think every customer, every fan, every listener, they have a selection of music that attaches them to their memories, how they remember things, how they felt, how different things transpired, how they've grown, some ways how they've not grown. But this group is definitely a part of various sections in my life, and this group is the Wu-Tang Clan. You know what I'm saying? The Wu-Tang Clan. Now, in order for me to start this podcast officially, I have to name the members of the Wu-Tang Clan exactly how they officially named it on their records. You know what I'm saying? And this, when you listen to one of their first records, you hear Jizza, explain the entire Wu-Tang Clan. You know what I'm saying? The RZA, the Jizza, Old Dirty Bastard, the Spectre Deck, Raekwon the Chef, You God, Ghostface Killer, and the Method Man. And don't forget Master Killer and Capadonna. You know what I'm saying? I believe that they were probably not at the session at the time. But don't forget Master Killer and Capadonna, which makes up the core members of the Wu-Tang Clan. The Wu-Tang Clan is not just the initial group of members. It is also an extension of other groups. And we'll get into that a little bit later because I'll talk to you about some of my favorite groups from the Wu-Tang Clan, the affiliates as well. Finally, hip-hop has taken another step in the right direction by honoring hip-hop's best group ever. I'm sorry, I got to say it. The best group ever into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Wu-Tang Clan has now been placed in the Hall of Fame. The ceremony will be coming within the next couple of months. Sometimes it takes time to put those things together. There are other honorees in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but I'm talking about the Wu-Tang Clan. Witty, unpredictable talent and natural game. The real ones know what it is. I'm excited. I'm super excited because not all the time do we get our favorite groups um, to be able to get one of the highest honorees that you could possibly get in hip hop. I mean, musicianship in general. If you're an artist or creator or musician, to be a part of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is one of the highest achievements and awards you could ever get. And from a group coming from New York, coming from Staten Island, Brooklyn, how gutter they was, how true to the soil they was to make it to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which, let's be clear, this means that the music that they've put together not only was elite music, but it also transcended what music was at that time and what it is today. These songs, these albums, the process of how they've inserted themselves into the music industry are all legendary moments in hip hop that we can speak upon when it's all said and done. As hip hop grows, Wu-Tang Clan will be a branch of that tree when we tell that story. To tell the story of hip hop is to mention Wu-Tang Clan in its finest regards. Let's be clear. These were members who came together for a common cause to create music, but to also teach people through music. There's artists who've done it before. There's artists who will do it after. But let's be clear when I say nobody did it like the Wu-Tang Clan. I'm not going to get into the origins of the Wu because if you listen to this podcast, you're somewhat familiar with their story. If you're not, please go do your homework. You have Apple Music, you have Spotify. Please go do your homework. You want to watch the Hulu series of the Wu-Tang Clan and how they came to be? Please do that. You want to watch old school videos of them on Yo MTV Raps all the way down to old live concerts and shows? You can do that. However you consume your Wu-Tang content in music, go do that. If you're a creator, you should incorporate this research because it'll be research for you. It'll be research for you to figure out how important Wu-Tang was to the hip-hop culture. Let that be the research you need to do in your journey to what you're doing as a creator. It's funny because let's just talk about for me. Let's talk about how Wu-Tang became my favorite group. Let's start there. For me, at the time, living in Brooklyn, living in New York, little fat kid that's listening to all types of hip hop. My first cassette tape that I've ever bought in my life was actually Throw Your Guns in the Air by Onyx. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Onyx. You know what I'm saying? That was the first tape that I bought with my own money that I earned. It was an allowance money, but hey, I mean, I earned it. The second tape that I bought, the second tape was Can It Be All So Simple by the Wu-Tang Clan. My brother actually bought, I forgot what tape he bought at the same time because we went to the same record store. I had my money, he had his money. And I bought Can It Be All So Simple. And it had a B-side. I can't remember what B-side it was. And then my brother bought, if I'm not mistaken, I think my brother bought like Eric Sermon or something. I'm trying to remember. but he'll know it better than I would. But I bought that tape, and first when you see it, you see the symbol, you see the Wu-Tang Clan symbol. At this moment, at this time, I don't know who the members are, but the symbol looked dope. It looked like something that'd be in a comic. You know what I mean? I grabbed it, I listened to it instantly. Now this is the time where when you're playing things in cassette tapes, you're learning every word. You're learning every word. Something that's dope. I heard about the Wu-Tang Clan before, but I really didn't listen to the music. I haven't heard the music at the time that my friends was talking about it. But this is the first time I got a chance to buy a tape. And I loved it. And this is the time where radio was big, so they're playing Mysteries of the Chess Boxing, Can It Be All So Simple, Protect Your Neck. Protect Your Neck came before everything, so I got a chance to go back and realize that Protect Your Neck was out. Method Man came out. Went crazy. I still know the whole song word for word. I still know Can It Be All So Simple word for word. I still know Protect Your Neck word for word. What I realized with the group at the time was there were so many different members. And remember, like, we're not seeing no faces. I'm not seeing no faces. I didn't have the MTV or BT. We had none of that. It was existing. Music videos were out, but I wasn't catching it. I'm just strictly audio. That's all I know was audio. But I'm enjoying the music and I'm enjoying the different flavors. On Protect Your Neck, I used to always be like, who's this old dirty dude? Who's that? The style was crazy. Raekwon's voice came on. Raekwon sounded like one of my cousins that I looked up to. He sounded like one of the cousins that I look up to. So I immediately zoomed into his artistry and what he was doing. So when Method Man came out, that's when I got the names of everybody. And if anybody was in that era, remember, you had to kind of piece things together because you don't know who is who. You got to kind of piece these things together. When Mysteries of the Chess Boxing came out, they all in ninja mask. You could see some of their faces, but some of the faces you couldn't see. You had to identify them with the ski mask, Ghostface Killer. You didn't know who he was. I didn't know. I'd never seen Ghostface Killer until like when Raekwon album came out, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And that was years after. Like, I didn't recognize that was Ghostface. Like, yeah, we've seen his face a couple times, but you don't resonate that voice with that face unless you see him a couple of times. And this time, once again, it's all audio form. The music, although part of it, when you first listen to it, you're like, okay, what are they talking about? But then you play it over and over again, you realize some of the artists are rapping in phrases. So one particular phrase, not the whole entire bar, just the first line is already something fire in itself. When they get to the second bar line, yeah, it might rhyme, but the idea is heightened into a whole nother level. Then some other artists are part of Wu-Tang, and I'm just naming out the different flavors. Some of them is like they're rapping with consistent rhymes, half a bar, half a bar, half a bar, half a bar, consistent rhymes. Rhyming at the end of every half a bar, half a bar, half a bar. Then you got another artist that got no father to his style that's saying wild lines. He's singing on part of it. He's using his voice as an instrument more. Then you got another artist that sounds very baritone, But the things that he's saying is piercing. It's piercing. Then you got somebody with high pitched voice, high energy, rapping about fashion, how that relates to him being on the street selling drugs. You got another artist that's rapping on more conscious, lyrical technician. You got somebody else rapping about street life and how that relates to real life. Then you got a lyrical assassin who his job is to every other word you hear is something you probably never heard before in a rhyme. These are all different styles from different members. We've never seen nothing like this before. Have we seen a glimpse of it? Yes. But let's be clear. These were a group of men that had so many styles that were so different, it was hard for you to catch up at certain points of time. We had groups that had similar rhyme patterns because hip hop wasn't, like the Juice Crew. Hip hop wasn't that old or that polished at the time or whatever you want to call it. So yes, some people might have similar styles at the time because that's just what it was. By the time we got to Wu-Tang, these are styles that are totally different from each person in one group. I know that there are people that listen to Wu-Tang that have their favorite artists. We all got our favorite artists from Wu-Tang. But we still gave the other artists a chance because they're a part of the song. And then we're trying to dissect who had the hottest verse. That's number one. You always got to figure out who had the hottest verse. Then also we're trying to dissect some of the dopest lines that we might hear. And usually that's how we cling to the other artists because we're like, oh, let's say if you like Method Man. If Method Man was your favorite artist, right? You waiting for a Method Man verse every Wu-Tang song. But in the midst of you listening, because you're listening to every record, you might catch a Ghostface bar that's like, ooh, that's fire. Or you might catch an ODB bar that's like, ooh, that's okay. I see what he's doing. And then gradually you start to identify with the other artists, or you start to like the other artists a part of Wu-Tang. Now it's like, I like Method Man and I like Ghostface. And then now it's like, I like U-God and I like Master Killer. That's my flavor. Then it's like, oh, I love RZA and I love ODB. And then it's like, I love Raekwon and I love Jizza. Like, there's different. For me, I'll be perfectly honest. My favorite Wu-Tang member, because he's my favorite artist of all time, is Raekwon the Chef. And I'll get into Raekwon in a little bit. Raekwon the Chef is my favorite rap artist of all time. Jay-Z's number 2. Raekwon is number 1. But every single artist a part of Wu-Tang offered a dynamic and offered a different particular style that was complementary to certain production from RZA. That was one thing that Wu-Tang brought to the table. This is literally multiple flavors of lyricism in one group on one song. Never been done before. It eventually traveled into each one of the group members getting a solo deal when it was time for them to break off and do other music. We'll talk about that in a minute. But if it's 9 members, it's 9 different styles, 9 different approaches to a record. Also, and I'm breaking down some things that made Wu-Tang legendary, so when you do your research, you'll make sure to go point out these things and see how groundbreaking it was. Number 2, they had one producer for majority of their albums. One producer, one head producer, like how Dog Pound and how Death Row had primary producer, which is Dr. Dre, Wu-Tang had RZA doing all the beats, all the production, crafting all of the albums. Not unheard of before, a style that was very unique, very, very classic. RZA was spearheading all of these albums. When it was time for the Wu-Tang Into the 36 Chambers, RZA. When it was time for Method Man first album, RZA. ODB album, RZA. He was the mastermind. Everybody in the group would tell you, he is the mastermind of the Wu-Tang Clan. He's the one that puts it all together. He puts it all together. Classic. Now let's talk about the albums. They've made about 6 or 7 albums collectively. So the catalog for the Wu-Tang Clan as a whole is very big. But also, they have solo albums themselves. They were able to negotiate deals, which was groundbreaking once again. They negotiated deals that allowed them to seek solo deals while still being in a group deal for everybody to make money separately. Wow. This is why they're in the Hall of Fame for many reasons, but that reason alone, to make legendary albums as solo acts as well as the group act, it was unheard of at the time. Now, people do it all the time. G-Unit did it. An album together, then separate albums by themselves. Rockefeller did it. Same thing. There are people who are able to seek solo deals even though they're in a group. Dog Pound did it. Classic. This is because the Wu-Tang Clan innovated how you treated and how you dealt with groups that also have enough talent to be solo artists. That's fire. Fire. They deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. They deserve to be in the Hall of Fame for many reasons. They toured the world. Their symbol has been tattooed on so many fans. I think they have the best logo ever in hip-hop history. What logo is better? What logo was better than the Wu-Tang logo? And let's be clear, it's not just about creative and style. What logo resonates across the world better than the Wu-Tang Clan? Let's be honest. When you see that W, when you see that symbol, you know it's real. Biggest fanship across the globe. You might have a group that was great in the United States. You might have a group that's great in a couple of other countries. Wu-Tang Clan, every country, every place, they resonate heavy. That's why they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You can't go to a country and they don't know Wu-Tang Clan. These are countries that even if they don't speak English, they can speak and they can recite words from Wu-Tang songs. That's a real thing. Men, women, tattooed the Wu symbol on their bodies. The Wu-Tang Clan symbol tattooed on people's bodies across the world. Wu wear, Wu clothing, anything with Wu-Tang Clan on it, they selling it. I hope Wu-Tang Clan is getting every dollar from it, but they selling it. Coffee mugs, t-shirts, socks, jackets, fatigues, hats, beanies, scullies, ski masks with that symbol on there. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Y'all got it right. There was one thing that was a problem at first because it seemed like when Wu-Tang Clan got inducted to vote for them to be in the Hall of Fame before they officially got in, there was a problem with the voting process. It looked like that the voting process for the Wu-Tang was getting suppressed. Like they wasn't able. I don't know if they suppressed it so they wouldn't get enough votes. I don't know what it was, but the people stepped up. At first, Method Man and a couple of people from the Wu had to say something like, "Yo, well, I don't know what's going on, but everybody need to vote. Y'all need to stand up," and that's exactly what the world did. Because when it finally got to those other countries that Wu Tang was going to be inducted to the Hall of Fame, they got the voting. They got the voting fast. So I'll just say this: Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, y'all need to do a little bit of a better job of that voting process, so everybody that deserves to be in the Hall of Fame can get their rightful run. I understand that they can only induct a certain amount every year. I get that, but you still need to do a better job of the voting process to ensure that everybody's getting a fair shot for their fans to vote. Fix that, please. But Wu-Tang Clan is in. They in. There's a lot that I can say about the Wu, and I will. I probably might do a follow-up video. Y'all let me know in the comments. But I will say this. In my opinion, they're the best hip-hop group ever and well-deserved. I'm not going to lie. Once I seen that they was inducted to the Hall of Fame, I ain't going to lie, I cried. I cried. I cried because there's so many memories attached to those albums. I can go on and on. I think I might just do, I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments. I might just do a couple of blogs about the memories that I have with some of these albums and some of these songs. Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments if I should do that. And y'all let me know, what are y'all best moments about the Wu-Tang Clan? The music, the concerts, the clothing. Let me know y'all best memories of the Wu-Tang Clan. Let's talk about it in the comments. I appreciate y'all. Y'all know what it is. Workload.